Have any of you ever had your feet washed? Now, I'm not talking like a pedicure kind of sense, although that's a little bit different. But mostly in the church setting. I've experienced this as both the washer of feet and the washee of feet. And let me tell you, it is much more uncomfortable to have your feet washed than to be the one doing the washing. It's even weirder when the person washing your feet is someone who you respect and look up to. The first time it happened to me, I didn't quite know what I was getting into. And I remember I was sitting in a chair and there was a bowl of water in front of me and my pastor started washing my feet. And I'm just kind of sitting there going, this is awkward. I don't like this. I don't like this at all. This is very much not my favorite thing in the world. And every other time it's happened to me since, I've tried to get out of it, but almost always I'm in a position where I can't. So just, inside little story, the reason why we don't wash feet here on Maundy, Thursday is in large part because I don't want to. It's a thing that a lot of churches do, though, on Maundy, Thursday. They wash each other's feet. And it is cool for the symbolism. There is definitely that side of this is a thing that Jesus kind of told us to do, but it makes me uncomfortable, so I don't do it. And I identify with Simon Peter in this reading from the gospel. Because if Jesus came up to me and wanted to wash my feet, I'd be like, no, you don't wash my feet, I wash your feet. Because that's something I'm much more comfortable doing. It's a strange thing, this foot washing, because there's more to it than just washing feet. Let me tell you from personal experience that if you wear sandals a lot, your feet get dirty. Not just like a little dirty, but like weird, gross dirty. And you have to wash your feet. Now, when I get home, one of the first things I do is I take off my shoes. If you're wearing sandals and your feet are dirty, what good does taking off your sandals do? You're still going to traipse dirt everywhere. So back in Jesus' day, when almost everyone wore sandals, there was a servant whose job it was to basically be not much higher on the scale as the rug you wipe your feet on. Because this servant's job was to clean people's feet as they came into a house. It wasn't a job for someone respected. It was a job for someone who society said was only worth cleaning feet. But when his disciples met to have the Passover, Jesus is the one who cleaned the feet. Jesus put himself on that same level as the rug you wipe your feet in. Because it was something that needed doing that Jesus did. So you understand more than just the uncomfortableness of having feet washed for Peter. This is the person that he thinks is the most important person in the whole world. And Jesus wants to wash Peter's feet. To do the job of the lowest servant. But here Jesus is setting an example of what his disciples are meant to be doing in the world when he is gone. Because Jesus doesn't want disciples who are going to preach about how cool it is and how fun it is to be a disciple of Jesus. He wants disciples who are going to fulfill the commandment that he gives them a little bit later in this same meal. Love one another as I have loved you. He wants disciples who will model the thing that Paul says in the letter to the Philippians, to be of the same thought and mind as Christ Jesus, who even though he was God himself, he put that aside to become a servant, to be obedient even to death on a cross, for the good of humanity. Jesus says to his disciples, "As I have loved you, this is how you are to love one another. As I have washed your feet, you are to go wash other feet, other people's feet." I almost said other feet's people, and I don't think that works out real. As Christ followers, this is what we are called to do. It's the kind of service we are called to perform, to do those things that need doing, even if they seem beneath us. Now, as uncomfortable as I am with having my feet washed, it goes against our nature to be a servant. We're a rather self-serving animal. Did you know that there's a lot of sociology studies that show that the reason why we have functioning moral societies is not because we have some imperative to do good for our neighbor, but because it's selfish for us to want to be in a society that has laws. It's better for me to be in a place where murder is not acceptable because then someone won't murder me. This is one of the theories about why humans developed culture, because we're selfish. And it's very convincing if you've ever seen people. If you've ever been near a people, you know how selfish we can be as humans. Sure, we have moments where we do a lot of good on our own, but in general, we're very selfish people. I mean, see someone who's having a difficult time at an airport and see how selfish people can get. It's crazy. But Jesus is calling us to do something that is against our nature so that we stand out in the world. Now, this can play out in a whole number of ways. As our Lenten journey continues and Jesus gets closer to the cross, we get closer and closer to him as he goes on his journey of service. And as Jesus calls us to follow him even to the cross if necessary, he's calling us to serve others, not in a way that's convenient for us, but to serve others on their terms. I know that's something that I struggle with, especially when people come to the church looking for help when I'm in the middle of doing something else I'd much rather be doing. Several of our quilters witnessed something like that not too long ago. But when it really comes down to it, that's why we're here. We are here as a church to fulfill Jesus' command to love others as he has loved us. And so today I want to give you guys some homework. It's not going to be hard homework. I don't want an essay or anything. Serve someone this week. That's your homework. Maybe stop and get that guy that hangs out at the Walmart corner a sandwich. We all know that guy. We all drive by him. He's on this side of the street and we look this way. But maybe just stop and see how he's doing. See if he wants some food or something. Maybe when you're at Smith's, pick up a gift card and just give it to the cashier and say, "Hey, pass this on to somebody." Maybe if you see your neighbor struggling with something down the road from you and you just go and help them. Find a way to wash someone's feet this week. Because that's what Jesus tells us to do. He gives us this new commandment: love one another as he has loved us. Let's go serve and show God's love in that service.